So this week, talking about the Middle Ages, it does seem that both in the lectures and through our discussion that some of the common thought about this time is that there wasn't really a lot of discoveries going on, not a lot of progress being made. That's why it may have been dubbed the Dark Ages, stuff like that. But I think that through our discussion, we uncovered the fact that that is not true. There was a lot brewing under the surface, and though we didn't maybe see the gigantic leaps that were made during the Renaissance, we saw brewing underneath the surface these really exciting big thinkers who were making big steps in the fact of just not being afraid, because before that people had been terrified to question anything because the church was the big power of the time, and basically they told the people what they needed to believe. If they were wrong, they're going to be condemned, basically that kind of thing. And it's really interesting. Claire and Jordan both mentioned in their discussion post that there was kind of this movement away from a blind faith in the church, especially when like the Black Death happened. People were seeing basically they weren't getting the help that they were asking for, even in some instances paying for their clergy, and nothing was happening. People were still dying, people were getting sick, and that leads to questioning. When the only thing that you have ever believed in starts to not work, that can lead people to question, and I think that that's what really happened here. And that led more people to be emboldened enough to ask these big questions and to start leaning towards these big discoveries that we saw later on in the Renaissance. And I think that they were really playing with the idea that, maybe science and faith could coexist, which is something that we still kind of play with today, and that's really an interesting and can be a really hot topic, buzzworthy, argumentative piece that people still play with today, and that is really interesting because it was so long ago and we're still having similar discussions today. So I thought that that was really interesting. And also just that even though it may have been dubbed the Dark Ages, it definitely was not. Maybe it was called that because lots of people died with the Black Death, stuff like that. Bad things did happen, but that wasn't all that came out of this time period. It definitely set the stage, I would say, for all these incredible discoveries that happened just a little bit later on in the Renaissance. And it opened up basically the bravery that these people needed to have to ask the questions that basically got us to where we are today. So it's a really fundamental time, even though not all history books really regard it that way.